All right, if you're just tuning in, we are coming into the home stretch with our interview with Tim Alexander. He's probably going to go upside my head when he leaves here because I promised I would only keep him here for a half hour. Can you comfortably do another 10 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we'll try and get this done. The light is powered by AtlanticCityFocus.com, where you'll be able to see this interview as well in a couple days. Where are you on government income and giving people a survival income, an income where they can help, income to help them make it, to help fortify their job, because unfortunately the cost of living has not gone up with inflation? Or is the answer making corporations pay their fair share to workers, or is the answer something else?
There's the yes, right?
Okay.
Because you hit on a lot of topics. But with respect to providing income,
I'm a radio station disc jockey. I'm not pulling down a lawyer cash.
well, lawyers don't make as much as you think, but
I'm not civil rights lawyers.
Yeah. So let's look at it this way. You know, government should be there to give us a hand up, not a handout, to help us get to the next level. And that's set aside people with disabilities or people who are managing children with disabilities.
Would you admit, though, if government provided insurance and housing, it would actually be cheaper than what we have now, and even on the government?
Well, what do you mean by insurances?
What I'm saying is, it's been proven in states that have single-payer health coverage that the government actually spends less money on insurance and having to give subsidies to hospitals and things of that nature. It's easier just to give everybody single-payer.
Well, you know, here's the thing. I've never been a proponent of single-payer, but what I have pushed, and I will continue to push for, is opening up our government system as it is now, Medicare, and that, you know, I qualify for Medicare when I'm of a certain age. I can qualify for Medicaid if I'm at a certain socioeconomic level. But what if Medicare became a serious competition to our current insurance programs? And just give me a second, I'll explain.
Sure.
If you allow me or my family or your family to buy into Medicare at a much lower rate than it costs me right now for Blue Cross and Blue Shield or Verizon, whatever it's called. For example, if I could get equivalent coverage, I currently pay, I think, $1,300 a month for health care for my family and I.
Okay.
If I could buy that same level of health care from the federal government because they could do it cheaper, they don't have they're not making a profit for executives. They don't have huge overhead and limousine service for their executives, as we see in Newark in the afternoons, where all the cars are lined up to take the executives away and for Blue Cross Blue Shield to their homes somewhere else. The money savings would be given to the participants.
Right.
And if I could take that same health care coverage and get it for $900 a month,
right,
I would do it. Right, and
right.
I could get the same prescription and everything else.
Right.
And you open it up a opportunity, a more affordable opportunity. And then if you really get into it and you set the stage and you plan this properly, at certain segments it continues to go down, because I still, in addition to paying the $900, I'm still paying my tax, Medicare tax, right?
Right.
So now I get to an age of 65 or 66 and I get Medicare for free.
Right.
No plan A, plan B, plan C or D or whatever they're up to. No donut hole, just free insurance that is not really free. I paid for it all this time. People who are younger are augmenting it and keeping it growing as far as the pool, because that's what health insurance or any insurance is, just a pool of money that everybody contributes in, and more money goes in and comes out, and that's how it survives.
And then when you need it, they tell you to no.
Right.
So I'm just kidding.
But that aside, the bottom line is, now we've made Medicare a serious competition to the private industry, what are their options? Go out of business, try to elect officials to lobby against it, or become more competitive. And the bottom line is they're going to become more competitive. So I say leave them in place, but give me a more affordable option and then base it on my income.
Okay.
So if as a radio host, and this is all perception, maybe you don't make as much as a doctor or an attorney, so you don't pay as much.
I don't make as much as the bad boy at Walmart. But anyway, go ahead.
But you don't pay you don't pay as much. And the reality then is now you have affordable, decent health care that I think everybody can live with, because we're going to make Medicare stronger by having young people pay in. And why do we want these young people? Because they don't need as much.
Right.
So they're paying for particularly, more specifically, an accident as opposed to a real, healthcare concern that comes with
Right,
age.
right,
Of course,
okay.
we're not talking about cancer or
Okay.
anything like that.
So I have to ask you, just to follow up, and again,
Let me just put one more point, because
Okay.
I started off by saying I don't believe in a single payer, and the reason why is because it's been tainted and twisted into something that the opposition to it has sold people on it being a bad thing. So we changed the language, we changed the labels, and we say, okay, forget about the single payer, let's do this. And at the bottom line, if everybody's participating in the government program because it's much, much cheaper than the private industry, we have effectively created a single payer, but we're leaving these people where they are. We're not eliminating anything. You want to do this? Do it more effectively, more affordably, and you can play along too. Or
Right.
for those who say, I will never buy into a program like that, that's beneath me, the Cadillacs are right down the street. Go down and get
Exactly.
yourself one.
exactly. And you just answered the question that and also I got a text from Sean. You just answered that question as to why because here's the thing, Sean just made the point on text. He can get in his car and drive to Canada and get treated without even having to show basically anything but ID. And so I see what you're saying. Sort of, my friends had to sell me on Obamacare because I was ready to chase that brother down when he passed Obamacare, because he even said, we need to have Romney care because Mitt Romney's people have single payer health care. So if it's good enough for Congress and it's good enough for Romney's constituents, why isn't it good enough for America? If it's good enough for Canada, if it's good enough for Cuba, why isn't it good enough for America? But in the years since I understand that Obamacare was supposed to be the start, not the overall end goal.
Right. So Obamacare is the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
And
right.
to that point, the Affordable Care Act is a great foundation for doing what I just outlined.
Right.
But unfortunately, it's had so many attacks, so many attempts to eliminate it, that people who are receiving benefit from the Affordable Care Act don't realize that they're on Obamacare.
That's right. That's right.
So-
That's right.
so-
Have you seen the video? The lady go, "Yeah, I'm against Obamacare." And the guy was like, "Didn't you just come from the clinic?" "Yeah, but I have the Affordable Care Act. That's
Exactly.
not Obama."
Right. So there's a huge disconnect in some segments of our society. I say let's leave Affordable Care Act where it is. Let's kick it up a notch with making Medicare an option, right?
Okay.
And that I could buy not private health insurance that's subsidized, but actually government insurance.
Right.
That we can make more effective, more efficient. Contrary to Doge, we would have to hire more people to manage it, so that you're not on hold for 20 minutes trying to get an answer, or even longer. And but these things can be done effectively and affordably, that will increase the revenue coming into Medicare, making it stronger for not just the participants, but particularly our seniors, where it was originally intended. And we can make a much, much better healthcare system. It just takes a little bit of will and even less brain power, because the answers are laid out in front of us. We just got to put it together.
Right.
And Canada is a great model to follow, but we can't sell that here. We can't. We have 77 million people voted for Donald Trump the last election. We're not going to sell it. But what we can do is come up with a brand new proposal
Right.
And the brand new proposal can look remarkably a lot like a single payer, but we can't call it that because people will be like, oh no, you're just trying to get a single payer through. No, this is totally different, and it is.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to make a statement. I'm not going to ask you for a response until you come back next time.
Okay.
For people who are listening, the reason why we don't have single payer is because white people in general don't want black people to have single payer. And I'm going to leave it there, but I got the receipts. One day I can explain it all because I can't explain it in 2 minutes. But we would have had it a long time ago, but unmelanated people were like, nah. If it's going to benefit black people, we're not doing that. But anyway, and that's Raymond saying that, not Tim Alexander.
Well,
So,
I'm going to leave it where it is, but I want to expand that and say that they don't want to benefit people perceived lower socioeconomically of all races, because a poor white person is the same as a very wealthy black
I
person.
disagree, because we can look at crack versus opioids. But again, we're not going to solve that today.
That's true.
The time is 8:53, and you have less than 2 minutes to get to work by 9 o'clock. You have a minute to make your last statement or your closing statement, and I will shut up.
Listen, I first of all, let me thank you for having me on the show. This is very enjoyable. It's a great conversation, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate the response from your listeners. I just want people to realize that they have so much power with the power of vote, but they have to do a little bit of research. I'm talking about if you spend 10 minutes looking at TikTok videos, I'm going to ask you to give us 10 minutes looking at candidates and identifying the candidate that aligns most with your ideas, and then go vote. This isn't about who to vote for. My position isn't who you vote for. I'm not going to advocate for that. I want you to participate in the vote. And if you do your research, more likely than not, you're going to vote for the best person for the job in the first place. So it's not a daunting task, right? It just takes a little bit of time. Do a little research. Go to a candidates forum. Listen to the candidates. Ask your questions. Formulate your questions, ask your questions, or maybe someone else in the audience do it for you. Listen to the responses. The politicians who don't answer the question are not for you. The politicians who are not advocating for the things that you need in the community are not for you. And the politicians who cannot identify how they're going to pay for something are not for you. The bottom line is engage, and go vote. It is such a powerful tool. It is not wasted. I don't care what you think. Every vote counts, every vote matters, and a lot of the problems we have now that we're dealing with today is because a lot of people didn't vote in the last presidential election, and we need to change that. And not just presidential, all the way down to school board.
All politics are local.
Absolutely.
If you don't get anything else from this conversation, and we didn't get into it, but all politics are local.
So true.
Do you want people to engage with you at the moment? Is there a way for people to contact you directly, or should we put that on hold?
Well, we're getting ready to start a program. I really should have been online already. Where my wife has a catalyst for civic education. We're going to get that ramped up a little bit, and we'll get that information out. And then on my side, we're starting a program that is going to be openly engaging as far as particular races and particular candidates. We're going to do a lot of vetting and research for you, and
Great.
All you have to do is go to the website, click the tab of
Right.
the names of the candidates for the races of the candidates, and do your own reading. It will have the reference material in there, so it's not just my opinion. It's going to actually be sourced information,
Right.
and that's going to help you identify candidates. We're going to try to make this as easy as watching a TikTok video. So,
Okay, great.
and that people can go there, look at it, and say, okay, let me see. I'm in Atlantic County. I want to know about school board races. Boom, click the button, and there's the information.
You'll come back and share that information with us?
I absolutely will.
You are listening to WLFR Pomona here on the campus of Stockton University. The name of the show is The Light, powered by AtlanticCityFocus.com. The name of my guest, the great Tim Alexander. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.